Hey everybody, my name is Matt and I work at the New York Power Authority. I guess you could say I'm an electric vehicle or EV nerd. EVs are my passion. I manage our Evolve New York electric vehicle infrastructure program. So what does that mean? I think you are all familiar with gas stations, which is what most cars use to refuel. Well, we're trying to replicate that experience, but for electric vehicles, which refuel by plugging in. In a nutshell, we're building fast charging stations for electric vehicles all across New York State, so you can recharge your car on the go, fast, like 15 minutes fast. Here at NYPA, most of us drive EVs when we're out on business. Today, I'm going to drive a Chevy Bolt to visit one of our customers. Let me show you something that's pretty cool. Why don't you hop in the car with me? Hear that? No? That's because there's no sound coming from the engine. It's one of the many reasons why I love EVs. Not only are they fun to drive, I get to meet a lot of people who ask me all sorts of questions about electric cars. You probably have a lot of questions too. So, before I take off on my business trip, I want to give you a little EV 101. First, let's compare internal combustion engine cars powered by gas and EVs powered by electricity stored in a battery. Today, internal combustion cars make up the vast majority of the world's passenger vehicles, like cars, trucks, and vans. But we're hoping that as more exciting and affordable electric vehicles come out, as well as arming people with the right information they need to determine if an electric car is right for their family, people's thinking will change and they will make an EV their first choice for transportation. But seeing is believing, so let's take a look at two different types of vehicles. First, this is your typical internal combustion engine vehicle. It runs when gasoline is ignited in the engine and then combusted or burnt. The resulting gases are what push the pistons and, in turn, rotate the crankshaft and make the car go. Now let's look under the hood of my electric car. Wait, where's the engine? There isn't one. In an EV, the car's electric motor is powered by the battery, just like your laptop or cell phone. Even though we think of it as one huge battery, it really looks more like rows and rows of the batteries you might see at home. These are called cells. And in other kinds of EVs, there are multiple motors that are located by each of the vehicle's four wheels, or where there's a motor located at each axle. Because there's no engine in an EV, there's no combustion. In many ways, this makes the mechanics of the car simpler because there are fewer moving parts. This also means that the car does not directly produce any gases or fumes that are exhausted into the environment. That translates into fewer climate-polluting greenhouse gas emissions and better air quality. And breathing clean air helps reduce the risk of respiratory illnesses like asthma. That is awesome. So let's face it, EVs are better for the community and the planet. Now, we all know that when you take a trip in a car with a gas engine, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have a full tank of gas before you go. But you may wonder, how do I fill up an electric car? Charging an electric vehicle is not that different from charging your cell phone. Most of the time, you just plug it in overnight, and that will cover most of your local trips. So what if I want to take a long trip, for example, from New York City to Buffalo? How do I know I won't run out of charge and get stranded? Most cars now, when you tell them where to go, will tell you where to stop on a road trip. And Evolve New York is building fast chargers with tons of great amenities to use while you charge, like food, shelter, and bathrooms. It's pretty simple, really. You just pull up, plug in, pay, charge up, and you're on your way. Evolve New York is going to make the decision to buy an electric car a lot easier by alleviating range anxiety. So yeah, I'm all about electric cars. Reasons? Cost, comfort, environmental, and the bottom line is they're just super fun to drive. Now, I want you to meet my friend Rahman. Rahman lives in Buffalo, and he's what I call an EV guru. He's going to tell you about why he chooses to drive an EV, and after hearing from him, I bet you'll be convinced to do the same.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdurrahman Morgan, and I am an electric vehicle driver in Western New York. I reside in Buffalo, and I own a 2020 Hyundai Kona Electric. Though I've had this vehicle for a few months, my electric vehicle journey actually started 3 years ago, this August, when I purchased a 2012 Ford Focus Electric. It was during the first year that I owned the vehicle that I spent a lot of time thinking about what impact I had and what impact other people could have on driving electric. And in 2019, New York State passed the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. That act was created in order to ensure that we mitigate the effects of climate change, both in New York State and communities in our country. It was during that first year, while I had the Ford Focus, that I spent a good amount of time meeting with other electric vehicle drivers at events like National Drive Electric Week to see that other people had concerns about emissions in their driving and for their children who were being bused on diesel buses. Over the past 3 years, I spent a lot of time advocating all throughout the state to educate people about what electric vehicles are, their benefits, and just the impact that they have overall in our communities and our planet. It's important to know that everyone doesn't have to have an electric car. There's other mobility options like electric scooters, electric bikes that allow us to go ahead and make an impact simply by making a choice that won't increase emissions throughout the state, and it will ensure that we have a better planet to live on.
Thanks, Rahman. That's it for me. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you learned something. If you want to learn more, don't hesitate to contact us.